What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Money Storm Show, your favorite Canadian finance podcast. This is a place of discussion about all things money and how to weather that financial storm. Without further ado, these are your hosts, Chet and Larry. You have Chitanya Monga, otherwise known as Chet, the founder of Brightcap Financial, a commercial and alternative mortgage brokerage. You also have Larry Heron, the founder of City Center Mortgages, which specializes in residential mortgages nationally.
Yes, thank you, Chet, for those introductions.
No problem.
As always, guys, welcome back to the Money Storm Show, episode 3. We are excited, of course, to talk all things money, all things finance, Canada, and pretty much what's going on out there.
Let's do it.
I want to jump into the big topic that's trending out there: inflation.
Inflation. Let's do it.
Inflation. Man, elevation. But that elevation is coming down.
Yeah.
There's been a long history. I was excited to actually do some digging here and figure out kind of what's been going on. But inflation as of December 2022 was sitting at 6.3%. And to put things into perspective, that came down from our all-time high June,
Right.
just June of 2022,
Yep.
of 8.1%, which was equivalent to 1983's all-time high or latest
Right.
disaster. That's the latest it was that high.
Yep.
Outrageous stuff. Like, I was only a
It's
few years
crazy.
old at that time, so I don't
Yeah.
know what happened back then. And but that, to compare things, 1983, that June was at that time, and now 8.1's come crashing down to 6.3.
Yep.
Obviously, due to interest rates going up. Bank of Canada raising rates to tackle this, and consumer spending coming down. People probably budgeting more a whole lot, and
Absolutely.
overall GDP, automobile sales, home sales,
Yep.
all down. So all these little factors have brought this thing down.
And thank God for it. Thank God for it. You're right. Hopefully, it's still on its way down. And that's kind of in reference to Bank of Canada's last announcement with the pause the interest rates as well, right? So let's hope that it keeps on its way down so we don't see any more increases and we stay paused, and eventually, hopefully, we'll see that decrease, right?
Yeah, so people can start saving again.
There you go. Exactly.
And, I mean, household income just doesn't get eaten alive, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I feel you on that one. So the goal is, to get to like a leveled off at 3.7% for 2023.
Right.
That's like half of like what December stated, 6.3, 3.7.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way this trajectory is going, could be achievable.
Yeah.
And hopefully that happens. So that is kind of the latest on inflation. That was last updated just as of January 17th, just the month of December. Next release is coming out February 8th,
Right.
February 20th or something, and January will come in, and hopefully 6.3.
Yeah.
January should get into 5s, right?
Let's hope so. I mean, let's hope it stays on that downward trend. We get some positive news in the next upcoming counts.
Yeah.
And I think it's achievable, right? Like by the end of the year, if we can hit that 3.7 mark, we're in a much better position. And hopefully it'll eventually achieve the 2% standard that's there as well.
Yeah, 3.7 for 2023, and then 2024 back down to our norm.
Yeah. So
two-year battle,
but I mean, it came at a price, right? So
it did. One thing before we move on, Chad?
Yeah.
Interesting thing, like, or to help, I guess, viewers, like inflation. When you hear 8.1 June or 6.3% as of like December, that's not for everyone, right? For example, meat is very expensive and groceries have picked up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not everyone's a meat eater.
That's very true. I'm not.
You're not. You're actually not. So I actually thought of you.
Yeah.
So, I was like, he's not near the 8.1 or 6.3 because there are certain items that have been cranked up.
That's true.
And there's some households and consumers that actually aren't buying those things.
Makes sense.
And some may be buying those things. So somebody's real inflation rate might be like 9-10%. Somebody's real inflation rate might be 4%.
Yeah.
Non-parents,
less
than all the baby goods. They're not buying baby goods.
So definitely,
it's time for budgeting, but don't let numbers scare you. Just focus on what you spend on, and take a look at what your main spendings are for household goods and what your family needs, and take a look at what those prices have been historically, where they are, and if you feel like some of the products that you buy a lot have gone up, then time to do some research. There's a lot of stores out there.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just budget smarter, right? And on another note, it's important to say that typically inflation is lagged, right? There's typically about a 3 month delay as to what real inflation is and what the numbers state it is, right? So it's important to note that because inflation today might be a lot lower than 6.7, but that's not a readable measure we can have.
Yeah.
So
These are just indicators,
these
3
are just
month lag.
indicators.
That's such a
Exactly.
great point. And
Yeah.
I leave all that intricate stuff to you.
I guess so, right? So with inflation there, let's chat a little bit about like I've been talking with a lot of guys, right? And everyone's been kind of telling me, oh, we're in a recession, we're in a recession. And it's very interesting to hear that because I don't believe we're in a recession, right? It's an imitated recession by the government, of course. Manufactured, exactly, right? Typically, inflation, high unemployment rates, low immigration, all these are multiple indicators of a economy in recession, right? Now, when we look at our unemployment rate, we're at a record low unemployment rate. We're at 5% for unemployment rate. We've been sitting there for the last little while, and
Which
it's
is great.
which
That's
is
great to hear.
which is huge, right? And I mean, realistically, like even in the standard job market, like we're talking about the Subways, the McDonald's,
Mhm.
you know, those kind of jobs, there is a shortage of labor, right? So we're seeing these jobs growing consistently month over month, you could say. Just in January alone, economists estimated about 15,000 jobs to be added. But guess what? We've hit 150,000 jobs, which were added into the Canadian economy.
10 times more the amount.
10 times the economy,
That
right?
is incredible, Chad.
Incredible, right? And that's as a result of that, like unemployment rates have stayed stable at 5%.
And that's one of the lead indicators for one of the group of 5, 6 major indicators for recessions.
For a recession,
and
exactly.
that's very positive stuff. So
Yeah, and this is all from a credible source. We're looking at the financial pulse we're talking about here, right? So just in the last 5 months alone, the Canadian economy has added 326,000 jobs, which is astounding numbers, right? So we're looking
Nice
quite
work,
good
Canada.
here. Yeah, nice work, Canada. That's one thing you're doing, right?
Yeah. People are pouring into this country, and we got jobs for you. They got jobs for you. That's great.
Exactly. And then that comes with immigration, right? So, like, realistically speaking, we as a country, we've always been very open to immigration. We have consistently high immigration, and clearly we need it, right?
Yeah.
We have so many jobs available, and we need people to fill those roles. So, great job on that, right?
And more jobs being created. I mean, Canada is such a baby country.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we've got so much more to offer. Like, just like a small example, like Shopify coming out, which was like our version of Amazon, right?
Right.
There's so much more of this coming out. Canada has got so much more to go, more job growth coming out, right?
Yeah, no, tons of growth expected. And before we get to our actual discussion here and chatting about some of the topics for today, just quickly want to discuss bond yields a little bit, just because there's a lot of news about fixed rates and variable rates, and we've been seeing a lot of success with clients and stuff like that on the fixed rate side because rates have come down. Important to say that fixed rates are typically dependent on the Canada bond yield rates, and bond yields have been all out of whack. We see them changing day after day, minute after minute kind of thing. So realistically speaking, fixed rates are fluctuating as well as a result of that. But all we can say is that bond yields are on the trajectory downwards, which is, of course, going to help us with lower interest costs in the near future as well. So,
got a question for you on that point, which I think could add a lot of clarification for, the average Canadian consumer, and when it comes to mortgages, that rates are going up.
Yep.
The variable, Canada prime rate 6.7, so your average kind of line of credit rate might be 7.2%,
right?
Which we're going to chat on.
Yeah.
But why are fixed rates going lower? That's confusing people.
It is absolutely
not confusing people, but it makes people think like, wait, what's going on? Why are people saying fixed rates are coming down, but all we hear on the news is rates are going up?
Yeah, I mean, the news likes to point their cameras and their mics towards typically bad news because that's what gets viewers.
Yeah.
Right?
We all know that.
We all know that.
Yeah.
With our discussion with some of the largest lenders in Canada, right? We've been chatting with them, and we've been talking about variable rates and what the variable rates are at. And it's so funny because sometimes they're like, oh, I got to check on that. Like, no one's been requesting it. So the average consumer,
Yeah.
right? The average
Yeah.
consumer that's in the market today is not looking at variable rates because fixed rates are a more attractive option for them, and that's good news, right? And that's what we're here to bring you today, right? We're not just pointing on the negatives, but realistically speaking, yes, variable rates are still at an all-time high. That's dependent on something called the overnight interest rate, which is a uh, separate indicator and separate calculation on itself. Right now, this will typically affect things like your lines of credits, your lines of credits, any open debt kind of that you have,
Floating.
any floating debt, right? So when we look at mortgages, typically it's prime minus 0.5, for example, with prime being at 6.7, we're at 6.2. As a result of that, of course, we see fluctuation in the interest rate on the variable side of things when Bank of Canada changes.
Let's say, for example,
Rates.
let's say for the average, the fixed mortgage product variable is prime minus half.
Yeah.
If you got a line of credit, it's prime plus half.
Prime plus
Some
half,
are prime
exactly.
plus one. But
yeah. So on that note, yeah, with our Canadian economy, there's a lot of consumers who have access to tremendous amounts of equity from their principal residences and other properties as well, with things like HELOCs, right? They're sitting at something called prime plus 0.5%.
yeah.
And even though they might be in a fixed rate mortgage, their cost of borrowing on that HELOC has still been increasing over time because it's a variable rate product, right? So it's just important to kind of say that because payments have increased significantly from what they used to be at for someone who might have had for example, 100,000 home equity line of credit compared to now and what the rates are at right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's yeah, for sure. So the fixed rates aren't necessarily just dependent on that overnight rate.
No,
and the
absolutely
variable,
not.
and they're moving, they're going up and down with the bond yields,
With the
which
bond
are
yields, correct.
quite volatile.
Which
right?
are quite volatile right now, but they have been on the trajectory downwards since it saw that peak. And
lower the bond yields and then lower the fixed rates.
exactly. So typically the banks will build a small premium on top of the bond yields to actually come up with the fixed rate itself, right? So just for frame of reference, which is why as bond yields decrease, we'll see lower fixed rates as well, and that's what we expect in the next coming year, right? So for all of 2023, we expect bond yields to decrease further and hopefully improve our fixed rates for us.
And interest rates to continue to fall further as well.
Interest rates to fall us further.
And the variable
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
prime rate might just stay at a standstill.
May stay at a
Because
standstill
at the end of the
still
day,
for now. Yeah.
we get a quarter point discount or something like that in
Absolutely.
2023, second half.
Yep.
Let's just say that happens. That's only a quarter point.
Right.
But the fixed rates can shift more than
Absolutely.
quarter points and stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, they absolutely can. It just comes down to what the bond yields are at, and they're changing. But it's just important to note that they're a lot better than variable rates, and it's on the trajectory downwards. So
Yeah.
that's some good news for us.
let's talk more about HELOCs, because this was one of the topics that I wanted to chat about.
Absolutely.
And it's a great time to enter this conversation. So HELOCs, home equity line of credit, has been a very popular Canadian product, investor's best friend. People are buying secondary homes with this product. Parents are giving down payments to their children. We've been calling it the bank of mom and dad, has been usually the HELOC, the home equity line of credit. That's been helping out younger generations to buy homes in the country that has the most richest real estate in the world, compared to household income. So that product was used a lot in 2022.
Yeah.
Even in 2022 and 2021.
Yeah.
And this product now is catching pressure. I feel like there's a lot of consumers, a lot of Canadians sitting on home equity lines of credits and these balances, and a lot of things have happened so fast, like a blink of an eye, and you can't sit on that balance. You have to make a decision with that balance, what you're going to do with it. That balance now is 7.2%. If you're sitting on $100,000,
yep.
See, I gave $100,000 to or a family gives $100,000 to their kid to go buy a house. Here's $100,000, go buy your home. Buy your $500,000 condo. Here's 20% down. Right. And take your time to pay us back.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem. It's when this was happening. By the way, 2021 also had the most amount of co-signers in that year that the country's ever seen in the history. So that just shows how much it was utilized.
Absolutely, which
And
makes sense. Prices were increasing and affordability was low, so realistically, people had to hop on board
yeah,
to, I mean, parents had to go on titles of their kids' properties to help support them
absolutely.
qualify, right? So it makes perfect sense.
I mean, I use that product myself,
Yeah,
right? I'm a
yeah,
big fan of it. Used it to buy some, investments and
right,
secondary homes. So just average number. Somebody took $100,000 off of the line of credit,
right.
or mom and dad gave it to somebody. You know, in the couple of years in 2021 and 2022, at average 3%. The rate was at about 2.5%. So
Right.
3% line of credit rate, which I feel like a lot of these products were used at and handed out at, that was a $250 payment. $100,000 and $250 was your interest expense. So it made it worthwhile. Let's go buy real estate. Now, I mean, at 4%, hopefully we get there, but 4%, $333. But today, 7.2, that 100 grand is $600.
That's astounding.
$250 to $600.
There's a $350 increase in a matter of months,
That's
right?
just on $100,000. Multiply that by 4, that's $1,300 extra.
Absolutely. And with already recession being at an all-time high, there's already pressures on the consumers
Yeah,
to be able to afford regular household goods and, just survival items kind of per se. And on top of that, they might have,
That's-
$400,000 in a line of credit, which now they're paying, what is that? 600 times
Yeah.
$2,400 a month.
just $100,000.
costs.
Like, here's somebody's like, okay, here's 250 bucks repayment. I can just do interest for now.
Right.
But now that's 600,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's like a car payment.
That's a car payment.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that is something that everyone, we should focus on now. Like I said, we can fix that in. You guys can fix that in. You should, because 7.2%, bring that down to a 589, 534 2 years now. I mean, a 5.34 is a pretty good deal at 24 months, and 7.2, that's almost 2% reduction. So it's time to make a move on that. And I wanted to talk about that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I am here to help out. If you got further questions, you know how to reach us. And,
Yeah.
that's that. So
it's important to
HELOC pressure.
Yeah, no, it's important to say that like some of these HELOCs that are sitting at like 7.2%, if it's difficult for a family to make simple interest only payments on this product, they can always term it off into a fixed rate option. And as I've said, bond yields are on the way down. Fixed rates are a lot lower than variable rates. So 1-2 year options are available at lower rates than 7.2%, which could help the average consumer monthly spend and budget. Right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
I'm
feel
just
free to.
jumping into a little bit more.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of understand too. So if somebody, for example, has got a $500,000 line of credit, your balance is only 150 grand, and now your payment or let's say it's 100 grand, 250 has gone up to 600, and you might be thinking, well, I don't want to lose my line of credit product. That's a brilliant product, $500,000. I get it, but you know what? Right now is a time of saving money. And that $100,000 should at the least be termed off, and talk to your lender about retaining that other 400.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So I get it. It's a beautiful product. We should keep them and try to retain them, but keep the zero balances.
Yeah.
Whatever is balanced up, term it off. Talk to your lender. Talk to me. Save yourself a couple points.
Absolutely.
Right? But yeah, keep the product. It's a brilliant product, and you'll need it down the road again.
Yeah. No, amazing
So,
product.
yeah.
I have it. You have it. Like it's one of those products that's just it's an iconic product on its
For sure.
own, right? And it's a necessary product, but very important to term off just to help out with the monthly costs and help keep families on their feet.
Yeah. I feel like 2023 is going to be the year of budgeting, year of personal finance, real year of crunching down. So
Absolutely.
we want to give tips to obviously help
Yeah,
people
of
out
course.
and save a buck and save a money in this money storm.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's it.
One last point, Jeff, I want to talk about is more products. So we talked about the home equity line of product. Here's another product. It's tough out there for qualification. Another hot topic is that, the stress test, it's so hard to get a loan now. I mean, on average, like $100,000 income is maybe getting you $350,000 to $400,000 loan amount, when that used to be about 600 or something like that. So that's a big drop. But there's products out there that are still making things easier and offsetting, I guess, these tough qualification times. There are a lot of lenders have a product called it's their high net worth program. So it's referred to as the H&W program, but let's call it the high net worth program. I want to talk about the major points on this program. They're awesome. So let's say your income of 100 grand or whatever it is, your regular income qualifies, you're stress tested at just $100,000 loan amount. And you're like, well, I need 400 grand. What's 100 grand going to give me? Not a whole lot. But the H&W program, high net worth program, here's how it works. If you have liquid savings, $250,000 minimum, but if you have 250K in liquid savings, there's a dollar for dollar match on your loan amount. That 250K can directly be added on to that $100,000 mortgage. Now you're getting 350,000. So, there's a lot of people out there with big balances and RSPs and TFSAs. If you're falling into a category of having a decent sized investment portfolio that's a minimum of 250K, call us, talk to us. Your qualification just went up.
Absolutely, yeah. That's an incredible program, right? At the end of the day, it's very helpful. Just like how we've been talking about families that might be having issues with budgeting and stuff like that. There's a lot of people who have collected, a large amounts of cash in terms of their investment portfolios, and
not everybody was losing these last couple of years.
Not everybody was losing, right?
People made ridiculous amounts of money.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with response to that, like there are programs out there that you can leverage to your advantage to qualify for additional financing, right? So to reach out to your lenders and reach out to us if there's any questions with respect to some of these programs and some of these tips that we give out. This is not just to really kind of just wrap and just keep talking about products, but we just want to give you guys the tips that we think are important in this kind of market, and just tell you about more programs that exist out there.
That's true, Chet. I mean, that's
put
exactly
some knowledge
what we're
on the
doing.
tables, right? Like that's really what it is, right? We just want to educate the regular consumer. That's really what it is.
I mean, somebody could be sitting at home right now, like, defeated. I'm not getting financing. I mean, I don't have any income. I'm retired. It's not working out.
Yeah.
And this guy's got a couple $1 million in the bank and
Absolutely.
just didn't know. So talk to the experts. Talk to us.
That's really what it's about. So with response to that, Larry, you've been telling us about some pretty cool products on the residential side.
Yes, sir.
So let's chat a little bit about what exists in the commercial world. So there is a product, right? It's a unique product. It's only there with some lenders, and it's called a HELOC. That's what we like to call it. It's called a business line of credit, right? Now, the best thing about this product is that it's for the self-employed business owners, right? And it's focused on your principal residence. So what it does here, it looks at your financial statements of your existing business, and it can help debt service, a qualification. So for example, say I have $250,000 in net income on my business, but on personal, I don't pay myself a whole lot, right? Typically on standard qualification with residential files, you really don't qualify for a whole lot, right? But on the business line of credit product, we can leverage those financial statements to qualify you based on the business earnings itself. And if you have a principal residence, we can secure a line of credit against your principal residence, which is going to be calculated based on your business earnings itself and not your personal income. So huge advantage there for business owners. This is huge because typically a lot of guys don't pay themselves personally, higher tax rates, things of that nature. On the corporate side, different world, right?
A lot of self-employed don't pay themselves enough to get the proper mortgage.
Absolutely, right? And I mean, it makes sense.
So we're using business financials on a residential mortgage.
Absolutely, that's really,
and that's huge for a lot of clients, Chet.
Huge. And the biggest benefit is non-reporting. So it doesn't report on your personal credit bureau because it's not a personal debt; it's a business debt, right? So it's an
just
advantage.
Another super creative way to find financing.
Absolutely.
Self-employed people, like, listen up. When you introduced this product to me, I was like, this is awesome. Awesome.
It's an incredible product. I mean, again, the whole reason for this conversation here is to just educate the consumers, because in a time when budgeting is tough, we're at record high we're not record high inflation anymore, but we're still at high inflation rates. Budgeting is a challenge. We want to be able to educate the average consumer about products that do exist in the market, so you can have a better hold of your finances.
Yeah, during this challenging time, like the key of this episode is there are products out there that are, you know, offsetting these tough times, these tough qualification times, and I think we touched on a couple, and that's an awesome product too.
Yeah.
What is there any max, or is there a max loan amount on that side?
No.
Well, of course not. I mean, it's going to be 80% of your home value. Right?
Exactly. There's no minimum. There's no maximum. Right. It has the same guidelines as your home equity line of credits. Just the advantages: it's non-reporting. It's secured against your business financials as opposed to using your personal income. So it's a much better product for the business owner. And to be quite honest, the average individual does not know that this program exists, and it's a much better product than the home equity line of credit. Right? So that's what it's about, right? And with that said, like on the self-employed side, like there are tons of programs that can help us further, right?
And for the most part, some people think feel like Canadians feel that self-employed is the toughest approvals to get, and self-employed people have challenges because they may not show a higher income. We can't use gross, only net. That's not true.
That's not true, right?
That's not true.
That's not true. There are programs that exist out there which we can leverage to qualify the business owner for maximum qualification and realistically get them qualified for the type of home or the what they really want to purchase or refinance or whatever the situation might be. On that note, there is another program called the stated income program. Now, very different than our verified income approaches. Something you just mentioned, the net income, net business income, the gross business income. We throw all of that out of the park, right?
Yeah, like what we pay tax on, guys. Like, your business makes $100,000, but you show to CRA or you pay tax on 30.
Yeah.
For the most part, people think that, that's it. You're going to get qualified on the 30.
Right.
That's not true. That's
not true, right? So the stated income programs are cool because we don't use any tax documentation to qualify the business owner, right? So notice of assessments, T4s are all out of the park. Like we throw them literally out of the trash.
You don't ask for them.
yeah, exactly. And we're using your business bank statements to qualify, right? Typically, our financials might state something else, and our real earnings might be something else, or our deposits are a lot greater than what our earnings might be. So we can use the stated income programs to qualify the consumer by calculating what your income is based on your bank deposits over a certain period of time, annualizing that, which would allow us to qualify for a lot more. Now, let's talk a little bit about self-employed individuals. And like we've already discussed in this episode, how we typically don't pay ourselves as much from our corporations just to save taxes on the personal end of things, right? And it's the common ground, right? So it's important to talk about here. And the important thing to note here is like your tax bill alone on $100,000. Your tax bill is what, almost $30,000 in taxes?
Yeah, I mean,
on the personal level, right?
Yeah, personal level. The tax rate, it might even went up to like 37.5 or something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, realistically speaking,
let's give it a 40K taxes.
Yeah, let's say 30 to 40,000 taxes and $100,000 income. Now, these programs do have a slight premium in rates as compared to your regular bank financing that you would achieve, right? But that small premium might cost you an extra $20,000 on $1 million mortgage, right? But you are paying $35,000, $40,000 in personal income tax. So what's better, paying yourself personally and losing $30,000 to $40,000 out of your pocket, or paying, or just paying a small interest hike, right? And only paying about $20,000 per se. And those numbers might not be exactly accurate, but realistically speaking, these interest rate premiums are so small that it's still advantageous to leverage these programs that exist out there if you're a business owner, rather than trying to pay yourself personally and doing all these things and losing out at the end of the year because you have to pay a large tax bill,
which you
right?
didn't plan.
Which you didn't plan, right?
And that's
most
fine
people
because
don't.
99% people usually don't.
Exactly.
And that's why we state lower amounts on our income amounts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these programs exist out there that can help the self-employed individuals. We can qualify you for more money automatically because we can use your true business income to qualify the business owner. And we reduce your tax bill at the end of the year. So what's not to like, right?
Yeah.
So
it gets the job done, right?
it gets the job done.
Back to our $1 million, $2 million
Yeah.
homes, somebody's buying something for a couple $1,000,000. They got healthy 20-30% down because they're self-employed. They got a lot of savings.
Absolutely.
But getting a $1.6 million loan,
it's nearly
is
impossible.
tough.
On
But,
verified income, yeah.
and not, rates are high right now, payments are high, but somebody's thinking, hey, I can handle that payment. I got good cash flow.
Absolutely. On 1.6 million, just for kind of like the frame of reference kind of things, on the verified income side, you need easily north of 300,000. I would say even probably 350.
350 to 400 grand to get about a household income to get about a $1.6 million loan conventionally.
Exactly. And that means that your tax bill at the end of the year is probably $150,000, right? And that's absurd.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So that's incredible. So the stated income programs and the business for self, business owner, tradesman, anybody self-employed, are getting loans based on their gross income.
On their gross income.
Gross income. So somebody's bringing in 300 grand, but he has paid tax on $50,000 dividend.
Right.
So that's what his accountant told him to do.
Yep.
But now that $50K is only going to get you a $100,000 loan.
That's correct. Yeah.
Now he gets to state his income not at 50, but what are you stating it at?
Let's say say gross income was 300, we stayed at 200. So 200,000 will bring us
$1 million
greater qualification, $1 million.
So he's got about 900. Now he's got
as opposed to stating at 50K and qualifying for 400 grand maybe. Yeah. If you're lucky.
Okay. And back to your example, you're paying a slightly higher interest rate.
Right.
And maybe a couple percentage points on whatever the loan amount.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a fraction of the cost of your outrageous tax bill.
Fraction of the cost, right? And so it's just a much more beneficial product out there. It's a very cool product, right? I recommend it to all business owners. And realistically speaking, we're seeing a lot more traction with these programs for the self-employed. So just more education for you guys to leverage and use to your advantage.
Yeah. Tons of products out there.
Tons of products out there. Right. So
theme of this show, qualification is not as hard as you think.
That's really it. It's really not.
There's programs out there. Talk to an expert.
That's really it. The key word is expert. You need to talk to people that are well informed and know how to make the decisions and know how to strategically guide you to your goals, right? So super important there. Let me tell you the story, Larry. With business owners and just I often think a lot of say hustlers, right?
Yeah.
I got a phone call the other day. It's about this 22-year-old kid, right? And he calls me and asks me, "Oh, I want to start purchasing properties under a holding company," right? So that just phone call on its own was awesome. Very cool, right?
22-year-old kid.
22-year-old kid.
I wish that was my question at 22.
That's really it, right? So realistically, 22 years old, he's talking about holding companies, purchasing real estate under those holding companies, and just a very smart kid on its own, right? And it's kind of a heartfelt story. It's pretty cool, right? Because the average 22-year-old doesn't even know what a holding company is, right?
It's good for that 22-year-old to reaching out to you, right? That's what you do, right? You are attracting investors.
Yep.
I mean, you are trying to teach the young the methods of gaining wealth in your 20s, so you can live a better life, and that you're attracting the clients that you want.
Absolutely,
and that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. I mean, the point of the story is that holding companies are just like incredible tools for any individual, whether you're an employee, whether you're self-employed, whatever it may be, whether you're just starting on your investment journey, right? There's a lot of advantages on the tax side of things to purchasing properties under holding companies. And we have access to programs and are aware of programs that we can help achieve financing under holding companies, right? So that means you'll have higher tax deductions, and you'll be able to attract, at the end of the day, not personal debt. The personal debt won't be reporting on your personal name. So lots of very cool
liability
advantages.
protection, creditor proof.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we don't want that stuff, but there's a ton of
Advantages. Yeah, especially if this is an investment property, it's a property that you're gonna rent out, or you're planning to hold for a while. So tons of different advantages, and there's tons of lenders out there and tons of programs out there that we can help leverage for these for holding companies, right? So again, very cool thing, because it gives you kind of like a mindscape. Just like you get to like look into someone's brain and just think about like for example, that 22-year-old kid reached out to me with regards to that. He's thinking about like all these complicated scenarios as to how to go about this situation, and we're the ones to be able to guide him and set him up for life with these investing tools, right?
That is fantastic.
So very cool.
Yes, we're mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
And mortgage brokerage owners, Bright Cap Financial, City Center Mortgages. But
absolutely.
We connecting with the youth, especially for me, and I know even Chet, that's just like a home run. That's a win. That's a win. That phone call, if it doesn't go anywhere, and the kid ends up buying something
that's
or
okay.
not,
Yeah.
It's just such a win that we attracted that, and you attracted that, because we are here to help the young millennials and the next generation get into homes.
That's really what's about. At a time when, there are reports, there's news, buying a home has never been so expensive. You cannot qualify for a mortgage. Interest rates are through the roof. That's all we're here to do. We're here to just educate and realistically pass on the message that it's not as hard as you think.
Yeah.
And you just need to talk to the right people to
Absolutely.
guide you down that path, right? Whether it's buying your first home just as to live in, whether it's buying your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth rental property, right? We literally know which programs are there just to educate the consumer and guide them down the right path.
Absolutely.
This is why we love what we do, right?
Yeah. That might be another whole segue to another episode,
literally,
talking about real estate wealth and investing, and how your first home should be a rental product. But we'll save that.
We'll save that for another episode.
We definitely will. But today was an awesome Friday. A lot of catch up.
Absolutely.
Thanks for all those commercial products right there. Those business products.
For sure.
That they're popular, and that's what's happening right now. There's a lot of products out there that are still winning, getting people loans, getting you the money you need to get done whatever it is you need to get done. Your business investment, helping your family, consolidating debt. There's programs out there. Call us. We can get the loan done.
Yeah. Just talk to an expert, right? That's all we care about. If it's us, if it's your bank, if it's another broker, whatever it is, just talk to the experts that know how to guide you down the right path.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for tuning in again. We really hope you guys got some valuable information this time again. Please remember, everything discussed during these episodes is not financial advice, just information to educate the consumer, drawn from our personal and business experiences. If you have any specific questions about your financial situation, please contact Bright Cap Financial or City Center Mortgages at any time. And we look forward to tuning in with you guys again.
Absolutely. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever you got to do, just do it. We're literally everywhere now, right? Available on all platforms.
Yeah.
So
it's Friday. We got to go make some money and help you guys get some money.
There you go. Exactly. All right, let's check out the show.